education is important issue in K-12 education. Multicultural education may be the most appropriate approach for the educational system to form a synthesis of cultures and to help diverse groups build an interactive dialogue with others regardless of local, national, transnational, or international status. The qualitative case study aimed to examine teachers and teacher candidates' views on and perceptions of multicultural education. For this study, the researcher gathered data and investigated the perceptions and results of a standalone graduate course, Multicultural Education and its effects on teachers and teacher candidates' thoughts, beliefs, understandings, and perceptions. The data were collected from semi-structured interviews, written documents, focus group interview, classroom observation, and field notes. According to the findings, all study participants had an idea of what multicultural education were before the course. During the course, they improve upon and enhance their understandings and thoughts. However, they still need to extend their perspective so as to more fully understand what those concepts mean. The aim of multicultural education is to create equal education opportunities for all students by changing the total school environment in such a way that it reflects diverse groups in society and in the school and classrooms by Banks 1995, 1996, and Golnick and Chin 1998. Similarly, Grant and Steven 1989 look at multicultural education are insisting on both equal opportunity and cultural pluralism. They describe equal opportunity as planned and deliberate attempt for each student to have equal opportunity to learn and become what he or she would like, regardless of sex, racial, social class, background, or disability. In our increasingly diverse multicultural society, it's more important than ever for teachers to incorporate culturally responsive instruction in the classroom, whether teaching elementary, middle school, or high school students. And the increase of diversity doesn't only relate to race and ethnicity. It can include students or different religion, economics, status, sexual orientation, gender, identity, and language background. There is an important relationship between culture and education since the culture of teachers and students affect the education processes in the classroom. Thus, culture includes everything that makes one group or community within a society distinctive from one another: language, values, literature, worldview, food, religion, clothing, holidays, beliefs, and behavior that construct a specific group's lifestyle by Persu 2012. Only imagine how many difficulties a teacher should overcome then if his students are from different countries with opposite religious views and diverse educational background. Education is the process of cultivating human potential in a person so that he or she can contribute to his or her personal growth as well as those of others. Quality education, according to UNESCO, APNIEV, or Asia Pacific Network for International Education and Values Education, nurtures competence in learning, doing, relating, a way of being in a globalized community, as well as values based on the dignity of a person and integrity of creation. The Human Development Report of 2004 by the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP, focus on cultural liberty in today's diverse world. The report responds to the question of how to build inclusive, culturally diverse societies for in economics and health as well as in education. Allowing people full cultural expression is an important development and in itself. For education to succeed, it should take off from the culture without making the culture stagnant. What is important is that people develop a collective self-understanding of themselves and understanding on how they think, feel, do things, and relate with others in the family, community, and society, and in relation to their aspirations towards total well-being. Discover what elements of their indigenous culture, as well as the cultural elements imbibed from other groups outside of themselves and from the West, could be blended towards fullness of life now and in future. Unlike customary classrooms, issues in multicultural education make the teaching and learning process a real trial for both teacher and students. All that happens due to the challenges faced by a teacher and influencing their learners. The first issue would be the first of all, low academic achievements are an obvious issue. Witzel 2003 noted that teaching and learning are not easy work, even if students and teachers are of the same societal, economical, and cultural background. Therefore, they may face some difficulties in the classroom when they deal with students and teachers who are from a different cultural background. This negatively affects the academic levels of students. Thus, teachers should be provided by professional development opportunities that assess them and learning how to assess, train, teach, and be motivated to use cultural teaching. This study also suggests that teachers should be trained to use several approaches in the multicultural classroom before they start teaching. Some studies reported that because the education system of students' cultures are different from this culture of their new classroom, the academic achievement of students may be low or bad. This study also gives an example of some cultures that use and prefer indirect relations over directness, open expression, or frankness. There are significant variations between cultures in communication or interpersonal context of students in a multicultural classrooms because they have different styles of nonverbal communication. These differences negatively influence international students' academic achievement. If teacher and students in the multicultural classroom have a different nonverbal styles and nonverbal communication, then they cannot understand and express themselves directly and clearly to each other since they do not have the same. Thus, the result is that students have low academic accomplishment. Another study indicated that because students in a multicultural classrooms are often learning content in a second language, and this will be badly affect the students' achievement if they do not have language proficiency. Adjustment to a new cultural environment. Some studies indicate that the new cultural character of the classroom is one of the issues for international students in Western education. This research reported that East Asian students are reluctant to participate in activities or speaking in a multicultural classroom because they are learning in a new environment that is unfamiliar to them. As a result, teacher and students may have the problems in communication, teaching, and learning because students do not adapt to the classroom's environment. This same study shown that some activities in a multicultural classroom, such as group study, lectures, individual learning, or cooperative learning, which requires interaction and communication, may not be familiar to all international students. Thus, a new and familiar environment is an issue for some students that badly affects the students' achievement because this educational environment differs culturally. Problems with self as well as the new culture, trust issues in the intercultural classroom. Another study found that an emotional relationship, especially confidence between teachers and their students in the intercultural classroom, is important in establishing trust between students and the teacher. This study also suggested that the teaching material and approaches of teachers should be modified to recognize the students' cultures and to gain students' trust. Therefore, students will feel respected and safe under teacher and classmates. The data gathering techniques used in conducting this case study is by oral history, semi-structured interviews, written documents, focus group interview, classroom observation, and field notes. I have searched many related case studies about how the teacher approaches and this kind of issues in the classroom, and how in every school multicultural in education really is constant, and it is very important to collect data from those trusted and legit information. And study shows that in order to give students knowledge, even in their multicultural differences, is to encourage diversity in school, fostering inclusion and awareness around multicultural education, and taking culturally responsive approach to teaching benefits all students. Not only does creating greater multicultural awareness and inclusion help students with different backgrounds and needs succeed, but it encourages acceptance and helps prepare students to thrive in an exponentially diverse world. Our social, emotional, and behavioral wellness certificate program is a great opportunity for teachers to learn how to create positive classroom environments and can serve as a foundation for understanding how to promote diversity in your classroom. Just like knowing your students more, ensuring that cultural awareness is promoted in the classroom starts with the teacher understanding each individual students. Take the time to learn about students' cultural background, hobbies, learning styles, and what makes them unique. Demonstrating a genuine interest in learning about each student and their culture will help establish trust and allow you to form a bond with them so they feel valued. If students feel appreciated by and comfortable with the teacher, there's a better chance they'll feel comfortable talking with respect their peers in the class, and communication is the core to a culturally aware and inclusive classroom. Therefore, multicultural education depends on the teacher's strategies and techniques to provide a united learners in a classroom, making some effort to provide such credible learning to the learners.